On IMDb, there's only 10 quotes, and only like 2 of them are good. I want to do I didn't hire her for Scream, Jack. I hired her for... But I don't know, man, because your mom might listen to this.
I'm gonna, I edit it out if you even listen to our episodes.
She's still gonna know.
No, she's not, because I do good at job. I'm actually pretty good at it. It's not a big deal. Okay, are you recording, Nick?
I am recording. Should I do that one, or should I do?
We'll just go right into it. That was your intro.
That wasn't my intro. Let me go back to it.
Okay, wait.
Let me re-say it so you can edit it right. Okay.
Welcome to Future Hidden Movie Gems. Today we're talking about Blowout. Oh gosh dang, that was a bad scream. And I got my co-host, Nick.
That's a terrible scream, Jack. What cat did you have to strangle?
I love when he comes into and he just come here for a second. And then he points to each girl and they all give a different scream. And he's just, no.
I want to share another quote since Jordan didn't share one. Did you share one? You didn't share one.
Well, I was just screaming. And then at the beginning when he's like, that's a terrible
so that
scream.
Was your thing. It was a scream, which I was actually going to say is better than all the other screams that were in this movie.
Whoa, except that end scream. Oh my gosh.
Okay, the end scream, fine. But you know what? Yeah. Anyways, let's just get right into it before I get too off
yes.
topic.
Okay, so Brian De Palma, love him. He made Carrie, the original classic, not the crappy remake. And he also did Dressed to Kill, which Nancy Allen, or Sally in this movie, she also played in Dressed to Kill, which was really good. And it's kind of fun, too, to see John Lithgow play a serial killer, because, in Dexter, he's so good. And then to see him again as kind of, I don't know if I'd call him a serial killer. He's just crazy. He does kill people, but he was doing it because he thought it was for the good of the country or something.
Yeah.
He was nuts. And John Travolta, oh my gosh, he is so good in this movie.
And can you imagine this movie's over 40 years old?
Yeah, and I think
that's John Travolta 41 years ago.
I know, he's so young. He kind of looks like my cousin Corey. I absolutely love this movie because it's about, at the very beginning, I'm like, oh no, is this some, really bad, horror slasher flick? I actually enjoy bad horror films, so it kind of starts fun but then it's about a guy making sound effects for those terrible horror movies. And I just think that's so much fun, especially because I love to make videos. And so to get to see how they had to do sound back in the day, it was such, goodness gracious, it just seemed really difficult. You had to use actual film reels and then go through and mark them.
Looks horrible. But that was probably high-end technology back then, man.
Yeah.
That's high speed.
Yeah, and then him having to take, he took the magazine and then cut individual strips and then tried to match it to the sound. It's just amazing how much time it took. It already takes me a ton of time to edit this podcast, but I can't even imagine how much longer it would to edit back in the day. Crazy. Constantly splicing.
You would love it, though.
I loved watching it, that's for sure.
You would love doing it. You'd just be like, ooh, this is so fun. You'd get a high from it. You would.
What I love about Brian De Palma, he always does, not always, but in a couple of his films that I've seen, Two Sisters, I think it's called, or it's just called Sisters, but he plays two scenes simultaneously. So you got him working, and you also got the TV talking, so you can hear what they're talking about while seeing somebody do their daily routine. So it's kind of keep it interesting. And because this is what I do all the time. While I'm working, I've always got a movie playing in the background. That's how I binge through Dexter a second time and Prison Break. And right now I'm rewatching Breaking Bad. So it's pretty fun.
Rewatching Breaking Bad?
Yeah, it's so good.
It is really good.
Dude, did I show you? I haven't sent you a picture. My sister-in-law because she lives in LA. She was at Costco and they were selling they have a new vodka and they were at Costco selling it. So
And your sister-in-law bought it?
Well, no, she just took a picture with them.
And then bought it?
No. And then bought it. No. She's still...
I would have bought it.
...an active member. But
well, that doesn't mean you have to drink it.
That's true. I might have because I would have felt bad if I was taking pictures with them and then they're like, you just want a picture? You're not going to buy anything?
I would have bought the bottle. I probably would have bought two. Saved one. I've been like, can you sign this one? And I'm going to drink this one. So just go ahead. Here you go.
She lives in LA, so you're a lot more likely to run into more famous people living there.
Mm-hmm. You know what I loved? Talk about famous people or really unfamous people. It was kind of funny because I was watching, before I watched this movie, right before I watched it, the last movie I watched before this, just want to make sure you understand that.
Okay.
Was Die Hard 2. And who is the cop in Die Hard 2?
Oh, yes!
Dennis Franz,
yes!
dude. And I was seeing that, and you don't see him in a lot of movies. And then
no.
I see him in Die Hard 2, and then I watched this, but he's like, this is, even 10 years prior to him being in Die Hard 2, because Die Hard 2 came out, 1990, 1991, so this was 9 to 10 years before that. It was just like seeing him. And even though he didn't have like a major role, he was kind of just like plays like this sleazy dumb guy, and he plays like, and he's like, his character is almost similar, but in a cop.
Yes.
In Die Hard 2,
Yeah, that was one of the best lines when Bruce Willis is walking away, and he's like, "You fat."
Yep.
I love that so much. And yeah, I mean, he was great, especially in this movie because he has this like sweat. Like he's always wearing like this tank top, wife beater, and it's like always sweaty and gross, and it looks like he's got food stains on it.
Mm-hmm. His like apartment's just disgusting.
Oh, it's absolutely revolting. And every time he's on the screen, I love it. And he's such a fun, interesting character because he kind of reminds me of the sleazebag from Casino, James Woods. That was great.
Oh yeah.
This movie is in my top 100. It's amazing. The ending is what made me absolutely love this film. Like at first I was like, oh, that's a good film. But then at the end, like I know sometimes, Nick, you like when the guy gets the revenge, or it's so interesting because it sets it up like, he's telling his backstory, John Travolta, and he's like, I had this guy and he's got the wire on him, and they start sweating and it's like burning him. And then he ends up dying, which I thought about it like, how on earth did he hang that guy that quick and then get out of there? That gangster guy, like, I don't know. Maybe they're just masters at killing people, but because he ran in there and he's hung, because don't when you hang people, like the reason they die fast is because they break their necks, not because they choke out.
Yeah, it's usually they break. That's why they drop them. They used to drop them, like in old times.
Yeah, because I feel like he would have got in there and he would still be choking. And like he could have like got him down.
Yeah.
But that's just a little nitpick. But it's interesting because they set it up like, oh, he wasn't able to save them. And in any other film, it would have been like, now he gets a chance to redeem himself because he sets her up with a wire. And he's trying to get the confession from the guy so that they can take down whatever government conspiracy, which I love. The news guy keeps calling him a conspiracy nut. And so you think he's like there to essentially redeem himself, get a second chance, but he doesn't. He doesn't get there in time, spoiler alert. And it has an amazing end when he uses the scream of her dying. Essentially, he is so tormented and feels so responsible for her death. And it kind of is. I was looking at the film the second time through, and she had a chance to get out of it. And she was trying to leave town, which was the smart thing to do. But he kept convincing her, no, you got to stay here. He's like, you got to help me out. Like, we got to bring down the people that are responsible for this. Like, we need justice. And he ends up screwing everything up.
He does. And it's so funny you're talking about that because I had the movie playing in the background. I'm right at the end, so I'm like watching it.
And that ending is amazing. Like the fact that he feels so guilty and so tormented, he has to he puts her actual death scream into the that horror film because he couldn't get a good scream throughout the whole thing. Then he finally got I guess you could call it the perfect scream because it's real and she's actually dying. But he does it because he feels responsible and he essentially is torturing himself because he feels like I deserve this. And it's just you can just see it in his eyes. I love it. It seriously elevated the film. But
the fireworks are all going off. It's he's just, you can see him. He's just really giving it all he got, and then fireworks.
Oh, I know. He's running, and you're this also reminds me of Chaser. Very similar ending. You think he's gonna make it, and they keep showing the shot of him running, and you're you're almost there. And even watching it a second time, I was watching it this time thinking, could there have been anything that he could have done? I love movies that have tragic endings because then on rewatch, it's oh, what could he have done to get out of this? And yeah, it seemed like he kind of sealed his fate or her fate. Nick, what was your two favorite things, huh? Or what was it like watching? Is this the first time you've seen it, or?
Man, we're kind of way past that stuff already.
I know. I'm sorry. I rambled just because I love this movie. It's crazy good.
Yeah.
Of Brian De Palma's other films, do you like Carrie, this one, or Dressed to Kill better?
Oh, I haven't seen Dressed to Kill. Did I?
Oh.
Have I?
Maybe. I don't know. It's a pretty old film.
If I didn't watch it with you, then I probably didn't watch it.
You might have seen it a long time ago. It's a really old film.
When we're talking about Carrie, we're talking about the new Carrie or the old Carrie?
The old one.
I haven't seen that either, so I'm gonna go with this movie.
What? Okay.
What? This is probably the oldest movie I've watched in a long time.
Well, but I thought you might still find it interesting. I didn't think you'd like that ending because I know you like revenge when the guy's, Well,
he still got revenge, essentially. He got the guy back. And that whole part, let's go back to that. That's a little bit of a nitpick. That whole part when he's stabbing him, that is so cheesy. That part is just so like you could just see how he just like slows down, and it's just like I'm like when I first watched it, I'm like, what is he doing? What is happening here? Is this like, are they dancing? Like, what is going on? And then I see that he's like actually stabbing him, and I'm like, oh. And the way he dies is just so terribly, I don't even want to say dramatic, but it was in a way dramatic, but it's like a bad dramatic, like it was garbage.
Yeah, I think,
the exaggeration, man, in these movies, like that's the other thing I want to get back to. It's like, I get it, they're older movies, it's how the acting is, but like, dude, why did every chick in this movie was like such a bimbo, and like an 80s bimbo too? Like that, like the main character girl, she's like, oh yeah.
I feel like she's such. Is it Italian? Like what is that accent? That's not Chicago accent? What?
Dude,
New York?
I think that is just 80s bimbo talk right there. That's what that is. And every single chick in that movie was an 80s bimbo, so you just like understand it. Like their acting was just like, I don't even know how to explain it.
I mean, she was a bit ditzy, but I kind of liked her sass. Like, hey, what are you trying to pull? Like,
yeah, that whole thing though, that just plays into her bimbo-ness, like the way she talks and everything.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know.
It's like at first it almost annoyed me, but then I got over it. I'm like, she's terrible. But I got over it pretty quickly because when she, finally had some makeup on, I'm like, oh, because when I first saw her, when you show the hospital scene, I'm like, oh. Oh, no. And then you see her again, I'm like, is that the same girl? So I get it. Okay, the makeup does make her look better, of course. I mean, we all know that, but
yeah.
It's just funny she was talking about it. She's like, without my makeup? Because she knows she's ugly without her makeup.
Oh, geez. Which is funny. I liked her whole talk about makeup and how she talks about how, like, Barbara Streisand.
Yeah, she's like, I can fix her face.
I love that. And when I hear that, I can't not think of the South Park, like Barbara Streisand and her voice. Oh my gosh. My wife and I just went to a play, and one of the girls that was singing sounded exactly like Barbara Streisand, but like the South Park version of it. So like, so essentially this voice, but kind of up to a 10.
Right.
Like, whoa, hey. I can't even do it. But I was watching a clip on YouTube, and it showed Quentin, like it's an older clip. Somebody recorded him at an old video store, and he said his 3 Desert Island movies, and this was on that list. I'm just saying. I found out that...
What was on the list? This
movie, yeah. I found that out after I watched this, and I was like, oh yes, that's right. I just had Quentin solidify why I love it so much.
Good.
I personally thought the performances were great. I loved...
John Travolta's performance was good.
Yeah.
Franz, his performance was good.
And I liked too that like the killer, like to hide all his misdeeds, he like saw the Liberty Bell and realized like, oh, I'm gonna essentially make this look like a serial killing. And I thought that was kind of fun and clever. So I love how crazy he was.
I like that part though when he was talking to whoever the guy that hired him, and he's talking about how he's just going on about the contract they had and all this stuff, and
oh yeah, in the phone booth, right?
In the phone booth, yeah. And that part when he says, when he's like, yeah, I proposed that to you guys on like January the 5th or something like that, and like we rejected that proposal. He's like, yeah, but I had to do it anyway. Take authority. But I always stay within the margin of error. Obviously not in this time.
I love it. I love a good cover-up. And it kind of reminds me of Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson. Also just kind of crazy and out there. Actually, I don't know if I'd compare it to that, because this one is like, you actually know what happens. But then everybody kind of starts to make him feel more and more crazy because they're like erasing his tapes. And yeah, I don't know. Nick, I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it very much.
It was definitely something.
Nick, would you recommend it?
I mean, I guess...
I'd say to select people, like, because I don't know, I feel like...
I mean, I did talk to one person about it.
And they had seen it?
No. Well, I asked if they'd seen it. I'm like, this is more about, like, around your era, because they're, like, older than me, like 15 years older than me. We seen the movie Blow Out. They're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was about it. Like, it's not that I wouldn't recommend this movie. It's just that after today, I just don't see myself ever talking about this movie ever again to anyone.
Oh, interesting.
Not because I don't want to, just because I'm going to forget that I watched this in about 2 days, and life will just go on. And unless I'm sitting here with someone and I see it pop up and they've seen everything else that I want to watch, I would hit on this, be like, oh, a Blowout, I've seen this. It's good. Yeah, let's watch it.
Well, like Danny Boyle, I love his camera work.
Ew.
And seriously, his camera work is so good.
Don't ever make me watch another Danny Boyle film again.
Like this reminds me so much of somebody compared him to Alfred Hitchcock, but he's more fast paced. And so I think that's a perfect description. His films are, I think, more exciting to me because Alfred Hitchcock, I just sometimes find his films a little bit boring. And so I like Brian De Palma a bit better. I hope I don't get a lot of hate for that, but not to say that he doesn't obviously have some amazing films, both of them. Okay, I recommend it only to film buffs if you're like really big into film and you like old films, because I know some people might have a problem with some of the, Nick calls it cheese. I think it's great. And because I think it's great for its time.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that.
Okay.
But we're in 2022.
Nick, what have you seen lately and what are you looking forward to?
I've seen this lately.
You didn't watch it, did you?
No, I did watch it. Of course I watched it.
You watched The Shadow of Violence?
No, I didn't watch that. I didn't have time to watch that. I only have time to watch one movie, man. I was up till midnight watching Blowout.
Well, Nick, I'm going to talk about The Shadow of Violence or Calm with Horses, which I don't know what it's like actually called, because on Netflix it's called The Shadow of Violence, but on IMDb it says Calm with Horses. So I don't know. I know with a lot of foreign films they do that, which happens, I guess. I don't know all the reasons behind it, but it was a recommendation from Steve J. Thank you very much. I watched it because Nick's never going to watch it, so I'm just going to review it really quick. Thank you for the recommendation. I loved it. Nick, I think, would agree that it's a good Sunday movie. I grew up in a very religious home. My mom would not call this a Sunday movie. I don't think we'd even be allowed to watch this kind of a movie. But I do agree, the music's amazing. I love the music so much, I ended up looking up, and I kind of went down this rabbit hole of like the music artist and his movies. He's like soundtracks and scores that he's made. And he did some music for Ted K, which also has great music. Blank Mass. His music is very, I don't know if I'd say relaxing, just like it's kind of like meditative almost. I love it. It's great. And the kid, Barry, don't even know how to say his last name, Keoghan. I mean, he's obviously a great actor. Thought the performance, but I really loved Arm. So Cosmo Jarvis, he like really did carry the show, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed watching him. The ending was amazing. There's a few times I was like, oh, this is kind of dragging on a little bit, but that ending, holy cow, just like him sitting in the chair. And I don't know, are you gonna watch it, Nick, or do you care if I spoil it? Are you gonna watch it?
I'm probably not gonna watch it.
Okay. So yeah, it's a gangster flick in Ireland, and I'm trying to summarize this whole thing. He's hired to kill somebody. He doesn't do it. And so the guy that hires him to do it goes after him to kill him, the main kid. And he says, if we don't end this feud between us, like, I'm going to go after your family. And as he's running away, he gets shot and then he bleeds to death. And he's sitting in the chair, and it's just like a great ending because he gets a chance to call, which kind of reminds me of the call in Brawl in Cell Block 99 when he calls his wife right before, he's not getting out of prison. It's just a really good moment. So appreciate the recommendation. It was fun.
Yay.
Maybe one day Nick will watch it.
Maybe.
Hey, the director's name is Nick Rowland.
Oh.
Okay, sorry, Nick. What did you say you were watching?
What? I saw this. And then I saw Die Hard 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
That's so funny that you ended up watching that movie like right before.
I know. I don't know. It's funny. Actually, it's funny. Actually, I was talking to someone I work with, a coworker, and talking about Die Hard. And then, she was definitely born in 83 or 84. But she's never seen any of the Die Hards. I'm like, how the heck?
Oh, wow.
Are you in your mid to late 30s and you've never seen freaking Die Hard? Any of them? Like, other than the fact that the first two are like total Christmas movies. I mean, they're on every Christmas, and it's like, they're just amazing. How would you not seen them? Well, it's on my watch list. It's been on there for a while. I'm like, why don't you put it at the top of your watch list? What other crap are you watching that's better on your watch list than any of the Die Hards? At least Die Hard 1 and the fourth one. The third one's also good, but if you really have to pick two, you pick the first and you pick the fourth.
Oh, so you'd say it's the first, fourth, then third, or second?
Ooh, I've seen the third one so many times. It's a close running for those two. I would say they both come in third, so either one, you just pick one. I think 3 is possibly a little better, but
Yeah, I think it's the third one. I think it's 1, 4, 3.
And then obviously the fifth one is last.
And then yeah, and then honestly, I don't really like the second one. There's moments I liked, but I'm not crazy about it. But then again, I didn't grow up on it, so.
I grew up on Die Hard.
Yeah.
They're all amazing. I watch them. If you give me a box set, I'll watch all 5 of them. Right.
We did. I bought it, and then we ended up watching them together.
Did we?
Yeah.
Right.
It was awesome. It was great.
Sounds like something that would be very fun. When was this?
It was back in Provo, so this had been like
Oh, man.
6 years, 7, 8. Okay, so I rewatched Manhunter, Michael Mann film. So good. And Nick and I will have to do Public Enemy for Manhunt from Michael Mann. It's a great one. Also watched The Cure, but we'll be reviewing that soon. I rewatched Drive, which is also amazing. Has an amazing soundtrack, just like Manhunter. Oh my gosh, so many good soundtracks. And then I also rewatched Mandy, like for the billionth time. It was so good.
Wow.
Because I'm just like, I could watch, an okay movie, or I could rewatch amazing movies. And so I've just been rewatching all these like
I hear
films
that.
I
I hear
love.
that. I'd rather rewatch an amazing movie than watch an okay movie or another Danny Boyle piece of crap. I'll watch almost any other movie except most of his movies.
Yeah.
I'm still traumatized.
Oh yeah, and then Nick's gonna get an Xbox. You heard it here on the pod. Yeah, he is, because he said he would if I bought one.
I am.
All right.
I'm gonna get an Xbox so we can be nerds together. Great.
Yes, and then so we can play the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. And I also played a game today called Stella. I thought it was made by the same people that did Inside and Limbo, but it seriously, the animation and how the game is played is like almost the same, but for some reason it's not. I looked into it, but it's really good. And yeah, excited to geek out with Nick finally.
Okay. Is your wife gonna be playing with us?
No, we're gonna be playing like Friday the 13th once you get it. Oh yes.
You gotta get her on. Tell her we're gonna play zombies, and she has to play that. She has to play zombies.
She would never play.
She has to play zombies. I might have to put a stipulation on here, Jordan. I won't play unless you can get your wife to play. So you better do whatever it is you need to do.
No more stipulation, no more rules or whatever. You keep pushing it off.
I just want to play one round of zombies.
We can do it.
We need a third player, Jordan.
Well, I got how many brothers and we got how much family?
But we've played with your brothers.
Kevin.
We
can bring Kevin on.
All right, fine.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Peace. Unless you have anything else.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Bye.